Welcome, my friends. Let's do a bit of comfortable standing position. Allow your whole body to be soft. And as a reminder, as usual, before you practice, you can always put on some liniment for your neck and your shoulders. I think this one is staining my white shirt a little bit, but still feels quite nice. Letting your whole body fall open. Just a few minutes of standing. In general, as with the use of the liniment, if you've been discovering that there are simple methods for you to help soften your shoulders and make your practice that much easier, like doing a bit of massage beforehand, using any of the various tools that I've been recommending, using warmth especially for people that find that helpful. You want to make sure that you start your practice by opening those spaces up and making this process that much easier, the movement more available. And that includes standing posture. If you have the sufficient leg chi, if it's not too exhausting for you, I highly recommend spending time before this practice doing 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of standing posture, allowing your arms to open and your shoulders and your neck to release more deeply. It can be tremendously helpful. And then closing. Gentle circles around the navel. Continuing to release the tops and the backs and the fronts of your shoulders to allow your neck to decompress upward. And for your awareness to gently soak into the space beneath your palms. And when you feel ready, let's do a bit of warming and circulation on the lower back. There's a direct relationship between the lower back and any tension up here in your neck. And so you might find that by taking the time to warm and soften the lower back as well, that it's very effortlessly easing any stiffness in your neck. And so take the time to warm the lower back. And then softening from side to side. You can allow your eyes to be involved if you'd like a little bit of extra eye movement. And then a bit of left and right, yin and yang, releasing through and down. Make sure that your arms don't drift to be in front of your body. Keep them resting alongside the body so that they are softening and you're not leaning. You're simply releasing vertically through into the ground. And then combining all three, snake softening its sides, waving side to side. Smaller and smaller, and then closing. Allowing your awareness to accumulate and soak into this space. I was just downstairs watering the greens, and we have our little seedlings coming up. And when the soil is dry, it does take a moment. The water pools on the surface and then all at once starts to finally soak in. And sometimes it feels like that when you try to place your awareness inside your body. There's this moment where your awareness just sits on the surface as though it's resistant, and then very gently it begins to soak in more deeply. Take your time. And as usual, please do let me welcome those of you who found yourselves watching this class and are not quite sure what's going on. I highly recommend checking down below for links that will lead you to the introduction to this set and other various discussions of how to do this practice. This is part of a 100-day series, and so if you're jumping in the middle, sometimes you can feel a bit lost. You're certainly welcome to follow along. There's not a lot here that's dangerous, but you might get more out of it if you start from the beginning. So when you're ready, let's start getting our body open a little bit more. Gentle spiraling circles with the hips and the pelvis. If I put my hands here, it might be a bit easier to see. Full, comfortable circles all the way around. Especially opening your lower back and the base of your tailbone, both directions. I like to place my fingers in here to help continually soften this tight bundle of tissue in the front of the hip. And then larger circles all the way around. taking your time. Both directions. Same thing, I like to place my hands here as a way to continuously help me soften this area that likes to grip up near the side of the hip here. We want to learn to release all of these areas as we practice. And then, of course, further up the body. Again, including movement of the eyes, if you'd like. The eyes are often considered the top of the spine, and so it can be very helpful to mobilize the neck to help release the movement by circling the eyes. But I know that for some people it can make you feel a bit dizzy or unsteady, so please be extra careful. Both directions. And when you're finished, gazing down between the feet, softening the base of your neck, the middle of your neck, the top of the neck near the skull, and then looking up, softening the base of your throat, the middle of your throat, top of your throat near the jaw, also your jaw and your tongue, lengthening the back without closing the front, lengthening the front without closing and compressing the back. And as we approach 2 weeks of practice here within this 100-day series, as usual, I'd like to introduce some basic Chinese medicine knowledge. Through this particular set, one of the things we will be exploring are the sinew channels in the body. In the 100-day series of the self-massage set, we already introduced the the primary meridians and channels that we talk about within traditional Chinese medicine. That is one layer of this energetic body, so to speak. Another layer, a more superficial layer, are called the sinew channels, the jingjin, this quality of protection of the body, things that run superficial to the body, a little bit more on the surface than their normal channels. These things tend to be associated with the skin. They connect through the musculature, the tendons, the ligaments attaching to the bones. They run any place in the body that has to deal with the outside world, the idea of external pathogens. And so they are particularly useful for this protective energy, this protective qi, wei qi. And we also find that runs through the center of our body because, of course, we are sort of shaped like funny shaped donuts. We are mammalian bagels in the sense that there's a tube that runs through the center of us that also has to deal with the outside world. In a sense, of course, that's our digestive tract and our respiratory spaces. And so any of those places that have to deal with the outside world, from our more obvious spaces in the skin and some of those places inside, those are related with the sinew channels and this circulation of this protective quality, that which keeps us safe from external factors. And so it's a very interesting thing to explore and to study. It also is related to the health of our movements, how smooth our movements are, how coordinated different aspects of our body are through the joints, through the sinews. And so by exploring these pathways and how to interact with them, not only can we deal with obvious things like aches and pains, but we begin to feel that much more aware of how our body is functioning and interacting. And I like to make all of these 100-day series part of a broader platform of teaching people the basics of traditional Chinese medicine. And so within this class, we'll be talking about these sinew channels, which basically run along the same pathways as the primary meridians. So for those of you that have already done that, it's not that much more difficult, but they tend to spread out and be a little bit more superficial, close to the surface, depending what we're talking about. And so we'll explore some of those functions. Should be a lot of fun, at least for me. So let's start moving the shoulders. A reminder of what we were talking about in a previous session, that when the weight moves forward, you soften the rear hip, the rear leg. When the weight moves back, you soften the front leg. So as you shift forward, you don't let the hip come forward. It's as though the hip wants to stay back. And as you soften the back leg, you don't let the knee come back with you. It's as though the knee wants to stay forward because the hip is released. Both directions. The health and the freedom of movement within the shoulders are directly related to the health and the freedom of movement within the hips. So we want to make sure that our practice includes that. In the same way that both sides. Earlier, I was talking about how the lower part of the spine has a relationship with the upper part of the spine. and then both sides at once. So the discussion about the sinew channels, the Jingxin, will be more in depth tomorrow. We'll start exploring individual aspects of the channels. But just for today, I wanted to introduce the idea of them. We have 100 days. There's no hurry. Comfortable neck circles. Remember to emphasize the opening and the lengthening, the expansion of your cervical spine, not the closing. Begin including movements of the shoulders, the upper spine, and tapering off when you're ready. Let's start freeing up the neck side to side of it. Remember to open the front of the shoulder. A very important part of reestablishing correct alignment and movement for the shoulders. It's very common to compress and pull down in the front of the shoulder. And then the neck opening. Lengthening your head backward, lengthening your elbows backward. Just 4 times. Hands press into the back of the head. Head presses into the palms. And then when you're ready, palms forward, elbows down, let your shoulder blades soften on the back, hands softening along the sides of the body to come to rest comfortably in the appropriate shape for your shoulders. If they immediately fall forward or fall backward again, don't worry, that's just how this goes. Eventually you will, quite literally, carve a new path, a new groove in the shape of your shoulder. It just takes time. You can't force it. And then, helping your head turn left and right, I'm going to take my headphones off for this series, but make sure you stay soft and relaxed throughout. Let's do a bit of black snake, twining around the tree. But first, this movement that I've been doing before golden snake might be useful here as well. So your shoulder blade sinks down, your elbow stays settled. This stays quiet. Don't lift it up and down. If your shoulder is softening along the appropriate trajectory, it's as though your hand is traveling behind the back of your head, but not because you pull your head forward or your arm back, but because that's the direction of the shoulder blade releasing. Normally we do this before the golden snake just because that's part of this shape of the shoulder releasing. But this is the first movement in the black snake, and so I want to make sure that people know that it's the same shape. So if I do this movement here with my shoulder, you'll notice that my hand is appropriately behind my head, but not because I'm doing anything strange with my shoulder or my head. And then I turn. Softening all the way through. Wait until that wave of release gets to the ground before starting the next one, or you'll just create blockages. You can also pull on your ear if that feels easy and comfortable. I can't do it because my headphones are on. So the shoulder softens, shoulder blade sinks down, hand naturally rests behind the head if the shoulder is releasing the appropriate direction. And that may take practice, but just knowing that that's where we are going with the practice can help shape the movement of your shoulder. Let's do one more. Remember that you can also move your eyes with all of these. Consistently allowing your awareness to return to that space beneath your palms, slowly shaping the way your mind is conditioned to rest in your body. Similarly, the reason why we're constantly making this shape here along the side of the body is because we are conditioning the body to move in this shape, carving a new groove in the shape of the shoulder. And it takes time, so we just do it again and again. By the end of a 100-day series, depending on your body mind, you'll be far more likely to be good at settling into the appropriate shape. But don't be in a rush. It does take time. Let's do some white snake preparation. Remember that as you shift back, your front knee is allowed to fall forward. As you shift forward, your rear hip is allowed to fall back. This will help to soften your shoulders and your chest. Remember to lead with your hand. Don't start sinking before your hand moves down. Lead with your fingertips. Otherwise, it's easy to start getting bunched up. Falling in this open line, carving this pathway in your shoulders if you'd like. Hands moving away from each other, lengthening outward. Elbows high enough so that the shoulder blades can slide down your back. If you'd like, you can just continue around the circle. Elbows high enough, shoulder blades sliding down the back. Hands moving away from the center. If you need to and your shoulders start to feel tired, of course, feel free to rest. Nothing wrong with pausing. Don't practice tension. You'll only get better at tension. Let's do one more. Softening down. Shake out your arms a little bit, just in case you're developing some tightness there. And then let's do some white snake sticking out its tongue. Now a little opening for golden snake. Shoulder blades slide down your back. Turn your waist. Don't twist your knees. Allowing your mind to remain settled into what you're doing. Some golden snake. Shoulder stays soft. In this first part of the movement, keep in mind that shape of the shoulder blade I was talking about. Shoulder blade slides down. Comfortable and easy. Shoulder blade slides down the back. Gives you all kinds of space to lift your hand in the appropriate shape. Shoulder blade slides down. This shape as well. As we soften side to side, shoulder blade opens and sinks, the palm turns forward. It's the beginning of that same movement, same style of release. You don't want to force your shoulder into that shape. You want to let it fall through that shape so that it ends up being effortless. If you're still trying to apply too much effort to create it, you might be moving in the wrong direction. It's okay in the very beginning to try to experience what it's like, but as soon as you can, you want to be letting go into this shape. Then it becomes stable and permanent. Shoulder blades slide down, falling in this nice shape, and then it comes past. The same shapes over and over again. Shoulder blades slide down the back. They stay in the back as you sink down the front. Don't let your shoulders roll forward. Let's do a bit of preparation for the turtle drinking tea. As usual, you can start with just the upper spine, the neck, making the circle, and then slowly begin to allow this waving motion to travel down the front of the body, traveling down the back of the body. And then let's do some of those hip releasing movements. Hips travel back, softening your glutes. Lengthen your spine. Only go as far down as it feels comfortable without using your back. And then push your hips forward without trying to engage your lower back. Not trying to lift with your neck. Just push your hips forward. Useful shape in general. And let's start to include it here. Don't lift with your back. That's the main point. Find a way finding your way through. You don't have to go this deep, of course. Only go as far down as feels comfortable. You can also lengthen upward if you'd like. Emphasizing the lengthening and softening of the front line of the body, not the closing of the back. And then to that end, this extreme version of that practice, opening up along the rear of the body, opening up along the front of the body, But don't collapse your back. Don't close your back. Closing for just a moment. Allowing a deep settling and sinking inside. And now, turtle drinking chi, mixing all of those together. Begin by letting your hips travel back, lengthening your spine, softening your back, releasing all the way from the tailbone to the top of the head, and then leading the tip of the nose, opening the front of the body, waving open the front, and that wave continues down the body. Soften. And I'm tending to break this up into a few separate pieces for our movement to make it easier, but you can also make this into one fluid shape of a movement. Closing. Moving a bit more quickly through the form than usual. You can always take longer with each of these if you like. I just have another class coming up soon, so I have to go through the form a bit more quickly, maybe an hour and 15 minutes altogether. When you're ready, remembering this shape that we've been working on, same shape. Softening, lengthening, and then gentle release upward. Your whole spine lengthens, crown of the head floating up with your hands. And take a moment to soften your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. And washing down and through. Softening each section sequentially through the body, down into the ground. And then, as though gathering up the earth, releasing through from the mingmen, the lower back, into the center of the body, and softening down. Now within this form, since we're emphasizing the shoulders, the neck, and the arms in general, this is one of the only places where we have this kind of movement. And so you want to take your time with this if it feels especially nourishing for you. I know some people have a lot of tension through here. And so especially when your arms are up above your head, this might feel really good for you. So do take your time with that. Moving at your own speed. Only as far down as feels effortless. Leading with the crown of the head on the way up. Don't lead with your back. Closing again. This gathering to Dansien is the golden centerpiece of the practice. Don't skip past it. We won't do too much gathering here until the whole body is open and the mind is quiet, relatively quiet and peaceful. Your emotions are relatively calm and worked out. If we start trying to gather and to build too much energy here, it can make all of those things worse as it runs into blockages. I'm sure that some of you have already experienced that. So we settle here, we nourish by being quiet, and then it's safe. So take the time to really let your awareness rest in this place. That's the path of healing. It's easy to overdo it with these practices because they can feel so good. First, develop an open body as best you can, soft and fluid, relaxed, peaceful, contented heart, not at war with yourself or the world, relatively quiet, a serene and clear mind. These are the directions that we go. These are the building blocks, not the end goal. These are the first steps. Although for some of you, it feels far enough away that it seems like some distant dream. And these qualities are treasures, so we want to wait to develop them. Then we build upon those quiet, fluid spaces. Cultivating stillness. We also slowly learn about philosophy, traditional Chinese medicine, which is one of the reasons I'm including it in these practices, because the kind of information that you take in shapes your mind, shapes how you see the world, and that changes how you function, how qi flows. And so having the right kind of map in your mind changes the way you see and take in the information that comes afterward. All of these are basics. You learn about Chinese medicine, you quiet the mind, calm your emotions and your nervous system, soften your body, get it fluid, relaxed, slowly cultivating lifestyle so that your energy levels are replenished through good eating, getting enough sleep, enough gentle exercise, these kinds of qualities. And that's when the magic starts to happen. These elements come together and you begin to not just heal, which of course is wonderful, but thrive in a brand new way. And that's when the magic starts, the alchemy starts. It's quite wonderful. And so here as we stand, let your whole body soften and lengthen. Crown of your head floating upward, fingertips sinking down, softening from the crown of your head all the way to your fingertips, crown of your head to the tip of your tailbone, lengthen away from each other. Crown of your head and the bottoms of your feet lengthen away from each other. Your Mingmen and your feet. All kinds of space opening up. And your awareness sinks inside your body. If you can, feeling all the way to the level of the bones. This deep releasing quality. And then get your hands nice and warm. Warming up your eyes. You will massage the eyes, the face, the head, working our way down the body. Take your time. I'll take my headphones off for this part. Thank you very much. I appreciate you joining me. I hope that you enjoy your practice, and I will see you again tomorrow. Keep up the good work.